समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ततामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुदः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः, देवाय तस्मै नमः। Many of them asked me, Swamiji, therefore you are starting which chapter now? Chapter 5? I said, not until Guruji comes and goes. Today we will see, not only for the benefit of those new parents. How many of you are parents who have been attending the Vedanta classes and Guruji's, Mahadevanji's? Okay. So those who have not attended these sessions here, because they will be eventually learning chapter 5 next year, so give them introduction in the brief of 4th chapter, as well as any study will be incomplete if we do not see the practical aspect of it. Any study is only theoretical unless we see how it is relevant to our life. Many of these lofty ideas that are presented in Upanishads and Gita are shunned away by people saying that, oh, these are all for people who are sitting under a tree doing nothing else. The sadhus and sannyasis, they have a jolly good time, I think. Sitting under a tree doing nothing, and once in a while open their mouth, somebody feeds them. That is the misconception. The word yati, which is also synonymous to a sannyasin, yatnam karodi idi yati. He who or she who strives hard, works hard, not in the external world, which most of us do, but within oneself, to overcome one's own imperfections, impurities, shortcomings, limitations, observing oneself very closely and trying to overcome what is otherwise humanly difficult and take it for granted. And so therefore, the efforts and struggle or the exertion that a person does that exclusively is not visible to the world as such. Yesterday I was in a seminar in Bakersfield on the topic mindfulness. There were two people who were before me talking. One person was a psychiatrist by profession. Another person was a pastor. And the psychiatrist went on to say that the idea of mindfulness originated from Buddhism. And it is all about being mindful about what you're doing, and when you are able to focus things very well, your anxiety will go away, and he went on like that. And there was a professor also who was there from University of Bakersfield who substantiated his statement. And the following, the pastor also more or less spoke this similar thing. So when I started on the subject, and I told them, first of all, you do not realize that an idea of this kind of mindfulness, etc., is not originated just 2,500 years back. It is from the time unknown, human beings have been understanding about how to take care of the mind. Our ancient rishis, in the Rig Veda it is there, 6,000, 7,000, no, we don't know how old it is. It is there about mindfulness. It is such a misconception because people would like to think, everything is started just a few thousands of years back. The idea of keeping one's mind according to one's will, which is so hard for all of us. How many of us can decide what thoughts should come to our mind? Most of us are victims of our own thoughts. Whatever comes to our mind is what we think. How many of us think because we want to think that way? I quoted Gita also, yato nischarati manas chanchalam astiram tatastato niyam yedid atmanneva vasham nayet shane shamet uparamet buddhya dhritigrihideya atmasamstam manakritva nakinchita vichintayet Mayyeva mana adasva mayi buddhim nivesha nivasishyasi mayyeva ada urdhvam na samshaya. So many different places in Gita and Upanishad, it is so beautifully has been given how to take care of this mind and keep it disciplined in one place. So it has been the view of the rishis that the most important or most difficult, I would say, not only important, most difficult thing to handle is our mind. Much less we should bother about others' mind. We are always bothered about others' mind only. Why is he thinking like that? Why is she thinking? Why don't you think about why you are thinking like that? What is that which we need to focus upon is how to correct ourselves than, having this fantastic idea of becoming a general manager of this world. So, if it is thus, the focus is to make it as practice, and the theories anybody can elaborate, discuss, elucidate, explain, describe, but when it comes to personally living those ideas, we find it is so hard, even if we give exclusive time for that. Therefore, I would today highlight the important points that we have to take home in this chapter. You will get to know more about it in a different points of view when Guruji would be here in the month of June. So that is the plan for today. And 31st May and 7th June, we will have question answer session. Meaning I ask questions, you all answer. I'm sure I will be the only person. No. So if you have read this book yourself, because it's now this next week and this long weekend, so go through the chapter again, and if you have any questions that you would like to be answered, so we will be providing you an index card, and then you can ask questions, and then we will take up one at a time and see it. This chapter opens with Lord Krishna saying that the knowledge about what to do in this world or how efficiently one should work in this world, leaving aside attachments and doing one's best, is not something new. He says, I have given it at the time of creation. While creation takes place, this knowledge is also given. Just like a country, when it is created, a constitution is also created. How to govern the country, what are the rules, what are the do's and what are the don'ts. In the same way, this creation which began with sun, without the sun there cannot be a life. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manurikshvagave abravit. I created this universe. While creation of this universe took place, this knowledge was also given. Yogam proktavan. When? At the time of creation, to the sun I gave. To show that the sun, if you at all you consider it as a deity, a powerful deity there, which consistently expresses its nature as light, irrespective of who wants it, who doesn't want it. In the same way, the take-home idea is that in our life, if we are helpful to the world, if we are capable of something which can benefit a large number of people, you just do it. Whether people want it or not, it is up to them. Our Gurudev used to say, you splash love. If somebody wants it, somebody will take it. Others who do not want it, they will run away from you. But you don't stop giving. If that is what is your dharma, continue to do that. And continuing this, he said, this was given from the Lord's Son, it is passed on to the first king of this world, Manuhu, evam parampraptaptam, imam rajarshayo viduhu, sakaleneha mahata yogo nashtaparantapa. And ultimately it so happened, this knowledge that is handed out from one generation to another lost its efficiency because the people who passed on did not practice it properly. So when you handed out a knowledge or a skill to another person without you practicing it, it will lose its ability. For anything that we receive in this world, we must improve on before we pass it on to the next generation. Is it not? That is our responsibility, duty as well. If we are just receiving it and giving it to the next generation without making any change, you have not contributed anything to it. You must refine it, you must make it of better use. Otherwise, it is you have not benefited and others have not benefited anything really out of you. So what happened when people who have received it from the previous generation did pass it on to others, but at the same time they did not master it, they did not become skillful in it, they did not refine it, and therefore over a period of time it lost its luster, its greatness. Not that knowledge was wrong, but practice was wrong. Therefore it was necessary for me to come again and again. And in the next verse he says, that very knowledge which I gave Lord's Son in the past, the same thing I am giving it to you, the original. Sa evayam maya tedya yoga proktaha puratanaha. Puratanaha proktaha yoga eva ayam toya proktaha. That which I spoke many thousands of years back and gave it to Lord's Son is the same one, O Arjuna, in this battlefield I am providing it to you. Why I am giving it to you? Bhakto sime sakacha iti rahasyam edaduttamam. This is one of the beautiful point. I am sure our Swami Tejamanji will explain that very well. Bhagavan Krishna says, I gave it to you, Arjuna, because you are my devotee. You are my friend. You know, it is the most touching point. Bhagavan to call a person as my friend, how fortunate that person should have become. We can claim ourselves to be a devotee of God or friend of God, whatever you want to call. And Bhagavan only smiles. You may be thinking like that. If I say, you know, I know Obama. I may say that I know the president of this country, but the president of the country, does he say that I am his friend? So it is one thing I claim myself to be a friend of God, it is yet another. I am completely different if Lord says you are my friend. So to become the friend of the Lord, how much fortunate that Arjuna should have become. And to be called as a devotee, how great would be the devotion of Arjuna then. So here we find that Arjuna was not able to even comprehend what he is saying. I am giving you, this is what? Uttamam Rahasyam. It is the most secret thing. Because to whom do you share your secrets to? To a stranger? To a person who you don't know? Or the person who misinterprets that? Or misuses it? Or gossips about it? Or tries to pull you down? You know that you give an important information to only to that person whom you confide. He is the person who you trust completely. Number one. Number two, you will be saying that for the benefit of that person. If you are interested to give it to everybody, then you don't need to say it as a rahasyam. It's a secret. Bhakto sime sakacha iti. You are my devotee and a friend. Rahasyam edad uttamam. I gave this secret knowledge to you. Why it is secret? It is secret because it is sacred. It is secret because even when you understand, you will not practice. Much less, you first of all, you will not understand. Even if you understand, you will not practice. Even if you practice, you will not be consistent. So here he says that this knowledge I am giving it to you, first of all, know that it is secret. And it is for your benefit I am giving it to you. So this yoga of action is something which is not seen as a practice by others. Why? Because, let us say, you are doing some asana, pranayama, any other thing, others can see what you are doing. This karma yoga is not a physical activity. It is inherent intention behind every activity. An action performed by anybody and everybody is only with attachment to the result. And anxiety with the result, only a person always performs an action to get the best out of it. But a person who has gained this knowledge of karma yoga is one who continues to act like anybody else, but his mind is detached from what he does. And that detachment cannot be recognized by anybody else. If you are detached completely and not doing, you can see that. But while performing like anybody else, but mind is always remaining balanced. So that cannot be seen visibly by anybody. That is why it is rahasya. And it is something which has to be practiced by an individual within oneself, not for the sake of any demonstration outside. Spirituality is not for external demonstration. Rituals are. You go to any religious institution and then there's so much of noise going on here, and then chanting is there, and mala is there, and then homa is going on, and everybody is doing big activities going on. When it comes to spirituality, nobody is doing anything. It is change in your attitude, in your way of thinking, in your perception of things. How will anybody see it? And it is not for anybody to see it anyway. So therefore, it is uttamam rahasyam. Arjuna had a doubt, how is that you are a son of Devaki and Vasudeva, born just before some years before me, and you are saying that you gave this knowledge at the time of creation. How do I understand this? Aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvataha kadamedat vijaniyam tome ado proktavan iti. How do I understand that you spoke about this knowledge in the past, in the ancient creation time? This is where the next important topic, and again Guruji will elucidate it very well, I'm sure. He talks about, I am not what you think I am. I am appearing in front of you as son of Devaki and Vasudeva. I am not this. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Bahuni me Veditani Janmani Tavacha Arjuna Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Natvam Veda Parantapa. Hey Arjuna, many lives have passed in you of all living beings and mine also. I know all of them. You don't. Now, this is another important verse which you must take home. Idea is we are not a new soul here. We are not the one which is just born some few years back, 30, 40, 50 years back. We are all ancient souls. We have been gathering a lot of luggage all the time for so many lives and lives and lives and lives. That is why over a period of time we started bending down and down and down. Because so much of this lives past also getting onto our backpack. So many different impressions and karma vasana, desires, likes and dislikes and tastes and preferences, choices that we have made over many lives have made us who we are right now. And therefore, why we are experiencing certain experiences in this life at this point of time is not just decided by what we did yesterday or a day before. Not even decided by the people around us. It is decided by us a long time back. We have done things which have become fructified now. If a person receiving a lot of laurels and praise and then recognition and other things, it is not because what he did yesterday or day before. He has been deserving for a long time. Here is an opportunity that he started receiving it. If at all we are going through certain suffering, certain unexpected, indescribable suffering and sorrows, which we do not know the reason why, do not blame yourself for what you are right now. It is because of it is the outcome of what we have done long time back. Gurudev used to say, we decide our present day happiness and sorrows much before we start experiencing it. So that gives a certain amount of maturity to face things. Not to blame anyone, not to condemn anyone or ourselves. To take back and take a back seat and look at it and say, okay, I am going through this, all right. I have to understand this is because of not the world, not he or she. It is what I have done in the past. Not to condemn again. That's not the idea. To correct. Okay. Now let me face it. If I run away from it, will it spare me? No. How long shall I run away? By running away, do you think that you will solve the problem? So, Bahuni me Veditani Janmani Tavacha Arjuna. I have gone through many lives and you have also. The difference between you and me is that you don't know. Thank God you don't know. And I know it. And I can know it and bear it. And I can tolerate understanding of what our lives have gone through. If we were to be told that what we have been through, like how we were donkeys, how we were the monkeys, how we have done things, you will not be able to have a single moment of joy in our life. So he says that why am I different from you? Because not only that I know that whatever I have gone through, I am aware of that, but I know that I am birthless. This soul, this spirit within us is birthless. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavami atmamayaya. Even though I am birthless, even though I am avyayatma, imperishable presence, I am the Lord of the whole universe or the beings, even then, taking my own prakriti and nature under my control, I come to manifest myself again and again. So, our own life, our birth, is not decided by our choice, it is decided by what we did. We cannot choose our own husband, husband of course we can choose, our own parents, our own brothers and sisters, and in which house we have to be born, which family, which lineage. That is not our choice. It's because of what we have done, which we have no control over now. But Lord says that I choose myself to come into this world, Atma Sambhavami Atma Maya, by my own power. In this context, let me put one simple idea in your mind, which you may like and may not like it also. In the Vedantic standpoint of Vedanta philosophy, the concept of Ishvara is, Lord is, it is a collective consciousness associated with everybody's karma. Consciousness associated with everybody's karma, the whole universe. While we as individuals are only the consciousness associated with our own karma. So when we say Ishvara in Vedanta, means the God is none other than an expression of collective karma. So in a particular situation, what that particular situation demands, so is the manifestation of the Lord. As you see Vishnu avatar, when you look at it, every avatar is for that situation. He manifests for that situation because that is what the karma demands at that point. That collective karma demands at that point. Like Sri Rama was a manifestation of Vishnu at that point because the collective karma wants the Ravana to be destroyed. Collective karma of Krishna, Kamsa and all other, Jarasandha and many other to be destroyed. Therefore there is Krishna there. But you and I are a product of our individual karmas. So Ishvara is a presence, a power, a manifestation, not a particular person. The person is only an external shell. It is like a person who writing a movie script. And a person writes the movie script, he always brings up the plot of a problem. A problem has been emerging, and for solving the problem, he has to create a hero. Is it not? It's not that once he creates a hero, now what's the problem? That is not the way it works. You don't create the hero first and say, what problem can we give to him now? Give him a wife? No, that's not the problem. So, problem has to be first thought of, and then how to solve the problem, you have to create a person who can handle that. In the same way, the karma, total karma, decides the manifestation of the power. So, Ishvara is the manifestation of the Supreme Consciousness as demanded by the total karmas. And so if you understand that, the God that you worship is a manifestation of consciousness which you and I really are, but we are only limited to our own individual issues. As the Lord is concerned about the totality. He is aware of them. That's why he says, I know the whole thing. And therefore you see me as a son of Vasiki, Devaki and Vasudeva. We have a very, very limited perception. And therefore he says, whenever there is a problem, yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhona vinashaya cha duskridam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge. I shall manifest whenever there is decline of dharma and increase of adharma, and to settle this correctly, and I shall manifest. So the reverence that we should have as a practice towards God is He, the one who is manifest only to solve the collective issue of problems which all of us put together have, and as He is capable of solving the issue of the totality, He obviously definitely has the ability to solve my problem as well. Perhaps my problem is included in that or not included in that, doesn't matter. But therefore, that devotion a person will have is multifold if he or she understands that the Lord is capable of that, of solving not only the issues of everyone but also in the individual mind as well. This divinity of my own, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, Evam Yo Veti Tattvadaha, Tektva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Charjuna. He who thus recognizes the divine nature of my birth as well as my action very well, such a person having given up this body will not come back again. Why? Because once he recognizes the birth and work of mine as divine, his perception about the world will change. The divinity that is manifest as the God is same as this me, also the same divinity is only manifest here. And therefore my action also should be as divine, as purposeful, as useful, as fruitful to as many people as possible. Such a person having this dedicated his action to God, there was no need for him to come back again because he is no more pursuing his personal desires. When he has overcome that, then for him the purpose to come back is not there. Vidaraga vayakrodaha manmayama mupashritaha bahavo jnanatapasa bhutva bhudaha madbhavamakataha. So such an individual who has given up his personal likes and dislikes and having me in their mind completely engrossed in that, completely taking shelter in me, such people who have undertaken the tapas or austerity of knowledge, they obviously become pure and they come to obtain my state, madbhavamagataha. Do not wonder how to approach God. In whichever way you approach God, He likes it. Ye yata mam prapatyante tan sateva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashaha. So whoever worships or approaches me in whatever way they can, because not all of them will have, like a person who has trained himself or herself into the traditional ritual ways of worshipping God, of offering flowers and then chanting the mantras and showing the arati and then all the 16 steps of upachar and all those things. Such a person may think that is the only way to do that. But there are many devotees we have seen in the history of human, and they have absolutely no idea of this traditional conservative way of doing things, but they have no more lacking any kind of love for the Lord. Like the case of Mirabai, or the take of Andal, or take the case of Paramahamsa Yoga, Rameshna Paramahamsa, or Kannapanaya, or such other people who have not gone through the traditional way. Of course, Rameshna Paramahamsa might have done the traditional way of puja, but people like Mirabai, or people like Kannappa, or people like many others, they did not have, or Kabir Das, they did not have any traditional way of doing things, but their devotion is unsullied, pure, innocent. So whichever way you approach me, if your intention is pure, then take it for granted, I am for you. So to say a person who does not do the way you do the puja, it doesn't matter. Oh, that's not right. For you it is not right. Do you know how much love that person has? That you should understand. Like Andal, just making flower garland and putting it on ourselves and making sure it is nice and then offering to God. That is not considered as a sin by the Lord. It's considered, He in fact prefers that. Because she is so sure that she wanted to give the best. Like look at the Shabari who gave the food after eating. So to show that to love for God is not a ritual. The ritual is only for the sake of making sure everybody does the same disciplined way. That is all it is. And you cannot say anybody who does it differently is not correct. Anyway, ye yata mam prapatyante tam sadeva vajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante kamshanta karmanam sintim. Now another topic he takes up. In this world, approaching God with love is no doubt the most beautiful way of reaching Him. But in this world, people are so caught up in the world of action because action gives them quick results. Kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Because the action gives immediate results, therefore, kankshanga karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devadaha. Therefore, many people do worship God, various different God according to their own seeking. Different people do different rituals according to different needs. I don't condemn it, or I don't say that's wrong. According to their own needs. So therefore, broadly speaking, I have gave this division of labor based upon their abilities. Chadur varnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram abhivam vidya kartaram abhavyam. Broadly speaking, according to the quality of thinking and the ability to act, I have divided this society into the 4 parts. And this division of labor is to make an efficient functioning happening, not to give disparity. And this is where we went wrong somewhere. See, any organization you take, therefore, you'll find there are certain people can do certain things very efficiently. We put them in another department, they become totally useless. It's obvious because they are not capable of doing that. Maybe that is a greater promotion you give, but promotion you give, but there is no production. What is the point then? So you definitely make use of that person where he or she is efficient. And so to give the division of labor, to do the division of labor, Lord has done only to benefit everybody. So here, Chadarvanyam maya srishtam, that is what he, tasya kartaram abhimam viddhita kartaram abhyam. Even though I have thus become a participant in the maintenance and organization of this universe, because I have taken a personal interest to make sure that this created world is efficiently functioning. Like anybody who has started a business obviously is involved in day-to-day affairs as well to see that things are happening well. But some point of time one must recognize that let it go. If one does not let go, one is caught up and gets sucked into that. So we must learn from this statement of the Lord that if you are the creator of a business organization or a setup, and make sure that at some point of time you let it function. Do not to overly interfere. Because when you overly interfere and do, others become inefficient. A leader is one who makes sure that everybody does and makes sure that even he is absent, everybody does. It's not that I'm watching you do it, I'm watching you do it. Then obviously when you are not there, then this collapse. So here he says, even though I have made sure that the 4 divisions are made to make efficiently everything function, Namam karmani limpanti name karma pale spruha idimam yobijanati karma bihi nasabadyate. Even though I have involved there, but no action will touch me. Namam karmani limpanti. Why? Name karma pale spruha. I am not going to derive any benefit out of that. I am doing it for their own good. Idimam yobijanati. He who knows me this way, such a person also, karma bihi, even though with action, nasabadyate, he will never be bound by action. Here is where the topic of karma sannyasa begins. How to engage in action, at the same time detach yourself in the mind. Evam yatva kritam karma purvairavi mumukshubhihi guru karma eva tasmatvam purvai purvataram kritam. This is the way people in the past have become efficiently performed their action, and therefore Arjuna, please do follow this ancient path. This is what I taught Vivaswan, the son, in the beginning. Now, when it comes to the world of action, what is to be done and what not to be done, This itself is a big confusion for most of us. As you are all parents, you have been, taking care of your children, etc. As they grow up to a certain level, you should know what to tell them and what not to tell them. Because at some point of time when you start telling them, they will naturally close their ears with their hands going there. Because they say, this you have been telling me for the past 25 years. Because you don't need to tell me, I know it. I know it means why are you not doing it? Because I don't feel like doing it. Simple as that. So, we should know what to say and what not to say. How to stop saying. Just notice but don't say. So, kim karma, kim akarma. What is that to be done? Kim karma, kim akarme, the kavayopyatra mohitaha. Even the men of great wisdom are totally deluded. Therefore, I am going to teach you what. Karma, vikarma and akarma. Action is broadly divided into three. That which should do, that which you should not do, and third one is how not to do things. So what you should do and what you should not do. What is prescribed action, what is prohibited action. And the third one is the most subtle. How to rise above action. Above the need to act. This I need to teach you. Now here is where the knowledge begins. He says, action will not be stopped by action. You cannot rise above action by not doing. You can rise above action by rising above the need to act. You must get the maturity of no more need to act. No more need to act means what? Where you are able to see that which is beyond action. That's why he says, karmani akarmaya pashed, akarmani cha karmaya, sabuddhiman manusheshu, sayukta krishna karma krut. A person who is able to see actionlessness in action and action in actionlessness, such a person is a mature person. Meaning he is able to see the invisible hand of the divine, which is not participating in action, and that is actionless. That which is the presence of God, that is the presence of your own self. When you are able to recognize that in the mere presence of the divine nature of the Lord, things are happening. Though me, the divine presence within me, is not participant in any of the action. So that is what I am. This recognition of your higher nature is actionlessness. While the physical body is acting, you are seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, walking, thinking, talking, whatever you are doing. So the shift of attention from the gross to the subtle, from the visible to the invisible, from the manifest to the unmanifest, from the known to the unknown. That is not a physical action. It is the ability to see the things which are not visibly available to you through knowledge, through the eye of knowledge. So this is called the path of knowledge. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kamasankalpa varjitaha jnanagnidagdha karmanam tamahu pandidam buddhaha. So in our practice, in your daily practice, if you want to seriously take up this particular teaching into try to practice that, once in a while you have to find your own solitude. Where you are able to sit with yourself quietly and then become witness of whatever that goes on in your physical body and also in your mind as emotions and feelings and thoughts and ideas and likes and dislikes and everything, and without reacting to any one of them become an observant of all that is going on within you. just as an observer, just as a mute witness. And always recognize that this witness in you is always present, not noticed. In other words, a higher mind is always present, watching the lower mind. But then when we are operating at the level of the lower mind, where it is full of likes and dislikes and desires and agitations and anger, lust and etc., then we are not mature. We are just like anybody else. So the need for solitude is not escape from the world, but to better understand oneself. And such a person, when he slowly become proficient or familiar with this inner witness of oneself, such a person for whom the unnecessary actions will come to an end. And in that fire of knowledge, the action will get burned. Tyaktva karma pala sangam nityatripto nirashrayah karmanna vipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Such a person who has thus renounced slowly that intense desire to achieve things from the world and finding greater satisfaction in that quiet, silent, peaceful self, such an individual, even when he is engaging in action, he can maintain his peace within himself. And such a person thereafter, the seeking from outside sources, the happiness will be less and less. Nirashir yata chittatma dekta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan apnoti kilvisham. Nirashihi yata chittatma. Such a person, desireless and full of self-control, having given up all the possessiveness in this world, performing an action only at the level of the body, bodily seen by everybody as he is doing things, but not really. He is not doing it just for his own personal needs. Shariram kevalam karma kurvan na apnoti kilvisham. He does not incur any sin. And so, if that is the case, what would be his joy in this world? Yadricha lava santushtaha dvandvadido vimatsaraha sama siddho siddho cha chakritva apina sabadyate. Such a person is happy with whatever he gets, happy and content with whatever be the situation he meets. For his dependence upon external world, for his joy is less and less, and his demands from the world is less and less. And such a husband to have is the most beautiful one. Demands nothing, or such a wife to have is so beautiful, isn't that? What do you want? Nothing I want. Sometimes when they say nothing, you have to be very careful. It's like Kaikeyi, I'm not saying that, but when Kaikeyi was asked at the battlefield, Dasharatha said, what do you want? I'll give you 2 boons. What do you want? Nothing I want. I want you to be safe. Years later, Kaikeyi said, remember that day I said nothing I want? Now I want. Abhi chahiye. So when somebody says nothing I want, I'm so satisfied. Keep enough in your pocket because when the demand will start, you do not know. Human mind is so unpredictable. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasaha yajnaya charata karma samagram praviliyate. Now the another topic started on sacrifices. I am not going into the details of it because there are so many different forms of sacrifices that were prescribed by Bhagavan Krishna here, and the most beautiful one, of course, is Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagnau, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaivetena Jantavyam, Brahmakarma Samadhina. A person who is able to offer all action to the highest self. So everything is for the highest self by knowing that the doer, the action, the means, the purpose, and the very offering itself, everything is Brahman. He indeed is the highest one among all. So, a person who is able to, this is called yajna. Yajna is sacrifice, Sacrifice is where a person is able to offer his or her best, seeking nothing in return, as you do in the case of a fire. You give, nothing comes back. You put into the fire and wait, nothing, anything comes back, nothing, only the dust will come out of it. Similarly, our action in this world is such that you offer your best, expecting nothing in return. And such maturity comes to an individual. Evam bahuvita yajñāha vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidditan sarvan nyātva evam vimokshase, a person. So among all these various rituals that are prescribed, Shreyan Dravyamayat Yajña Jnana Yajña Parantapa Sarvam Karma Kilam Partha Jnane Parisamapyate. The best sacrifice indeed is in the fire of knowledge. Any other kind of rituals is only an external result, but when a person is able to offer all his or her desires into the fire of knowledge, such an individual gains the best. But then, what is this knowledge which you are talking about? Yes, I got a little idea about this akarma atma, the actionless self, witness you are, observer in you, etc. But what it is actually, what is its nature, etc. If you would like to know, and I am sure Guruji will highlight this point very, very well, the need for approaching a spiritual teacher. Tadviddhi pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya upatekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Approach a teacher with all humility, with salutation, serving and asking questions. At the physical body, you must do the service. At the mind, you must have the humility to surrender. And at the intellectual level, keep questioning and asking for your own personal growth. So these three things we do when you are in the presence of the Guru, because they are those who are men of knowledge, jnaninaha, and they are the people who can give you the vision of the truth, tattvadarshina. And you may wonder, what is the need for knowing this in detail? Yajñātva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutan nyasheshena drakshasyaatmanyato mayi. This knowledge is that it is not only for the benefit of bringing peace to yourself, but as well as you see everything in you. The whole universe you will see in yourself. All living beings you will see in yourself. And you will never come to have any more delusion like this now you have, Arjuna, about to fight or not to fight, how to fight, why to fight. These kind of such questions and delusion and confusion will not be there anymore. And you will see the entire creation. Yena bhutani aseshena, all living beings. Drakshasi, you will see Atmani in yourself, Ato Mayi, or in God. Thus, your vision will become complete. You will be able to see the oneness of everything. Then Arjuna probably, or any one of us, will have this doubt. I as a person who have done so much of blunder in my life, committed so many sins. I do not know how much I have done in the past as well. My horoscope, Swamiji, better don't look at it. Because, what it has, and anybody, but it's a bombshell. So, therefore, I am the most wanted criminal in this universe. He says, even if you want the most wanted criminal, abhichetasi kaunteya, abhichetasi papyepya sarvepya papakruttamaha sarvam jnana plaveneva vrajinam santarishyasi. Even if you are the most wanted sinner in this whole universe, you will, with the boat of knowledge, cross over this world. Meaning, do not think that anybody can be spared. Anybody and everybody is possible. Even anybody and everybody can cross over this endless ocean of samsara with the help of the boat of knowledge. And that is the reason why one should approach the teacher and get the correct knowledge. Because if one is a sinner, one is who has not done it. Every one of us at some point of time, knowingly or unknowingly, have done things. But to sit there and condemn ourselves and saying that I am a sinner, useless, and get dejected and depressed, Instead of that, shrug, get up and say, okay, that's done. Now what can I do to overcome this? That is the way one has to go about. And not to condemn yourself, curse yourself. So knowledge can therefore really take you across. Yate idamsi samiddogni bhasmasat kurute arjuna jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute tata. Just like the fire that is hidden in the fuel will burn that fuel completely into ashes. Just like a wood which has a potential fire within itself, it just needs a single spark, having got which it starts burning, and it burns the entire thing into probably a handful of ashes. It may be a huge tree, all right, but it can be turning into a handful of ash. In the same way, all your actions of the past, not only of today or yesterday or this life, all actions of the past, which you know or you do not know, all of them can be burned by the fire of knowledge. If one has not taken to this path and think that, okay, I have been experiencing some results of my past actions, all right, at some point of time it will all come to an end. No, you do not know how long and how many are there. And you'll go on and go on for eternity. The shortcut to come out of that is therefore to get into the fire of knowledge, in which jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute. It burns all actions. Therefore, there is nothing comparable to this knowledge. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram miha vidyate. Tatsvayam yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. A person who has understood this, know that there is nothing comparable to knowledge. That is why in the Hindu culture it is so important that knowledge is given the highest pedestal. Knowledge is given the highest importance. I mean, these children have to be educated. They have to gain the correct perception of life. They have to be having the correct knowledge. That is important because that helps them wherever they go. Any other skill you learn, a few things here and there, and then if you are physically handicapped or anything else, gone. But gaining the correct view of life, correct understanding of correct knowledge when one has, there is no dearth of it. It is enough for an individual to survive. But one important ingredient for knowledge is you must have faith. Without faith, the knowledge will not dawn. Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatpara sanyadindriyaha jnanam labva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. A man of faith who believes that it is possible alone can really gain that knowledge, especially when it comes to spiritual knowledge, because it is not something which is externally demonstrable. It is not an objective science which somebody can show you. This is the Atman here, you can see all of you. It is not something which is, God is not a physical being which everybody can be shown. It is something which is of one's own reality, and therefore that which is invisible, unknown, one must have faith in the source. So the source, maybe a teacher or the scripture, that faith one does not have, knowledge one will not gain. And not only that, one must have that faith towards what is available, Shraddhavan, Tat Paraha, considering that as important in one's life, Sanyata Indriyaha, with proper discipline of the senses, having gained that knowledge, the ultimate result is Param Shanti, a supreme peace. Achirena adhigacchati, quickly one gains. So Jnanam dadadi Param Shanti. So it immediately gives the supreme peace to an individual, and that requires faith. What happens to a person who does not have faith and lives in always in doubt? Ajnasya ashraddhadanasya samshayatma vinashrati nayam lokosi naparaha naparaha nasukam samshayatmanaha. A man of doubt who does not trust in anything, neither in this world he will enjoy anything. What to talk of any other thing? So faith is, even as one takes up a book to read or approach a teacher to learn, if the lack of trust and lack of faith, such a person may probably go and test the knowledge of the guru. That's such kind of person who has a constant doubt. Even in our own worldly life also, when we do not trust a person and deal with that person for a long time, and that person knows this fellow doesn't trust me at all. Anything I say is doubts. Anything I say he has a doubt. Such a person will never have any experience of joy in this world. Nasukam samshayatmana. So, therefore, Krishna says, Yoga sanyasta karmanam yanasam chinna samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibatnanti dhananjaya. Thus, I have talked to you about very many different topics in this particular chapter. I started with saying that this yoga I taught in the very ancient path and I just lost its luster, and therefore I come here to teach again and again. And I have spoken to you specially because you are my friend and devotee, and moved on to that why I am here. I am not an individual as you see me as. Aham Ishvaraha, the Lord of the universe who has appeared because of the collective need, the karma that is needed here. One who knows this, even he can emulate these qualities. I have to teach you about what is karma, not to be done, and how to rise above action, and also how to understand the witness within you who is ever actionless, to know that you must go to a teacher, and before that you must have purified your mind through proper sacrifices, and having reached the teacher will gain the right knowledge through faith, and without faith you will not reach the goal. And such an individual, having destroyed all his doubts with the sword of knowledge, a person who is self-abiding, no action will bind him. Tasmad ajnana sambodham hristam jnanasinatmanah chitvenam samshayam yogam yutishto tishta bharata. Therefore, get up, O Arjuna, and start performing your duties, having gained the right knowledge. Thus, this chapter comes to an end. Tatsaditi Srimad Bhagavad Geeta Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastri Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturto Dhyaya. So this fourth chapter is titled as Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Yeah, it should be understood Jnanena Karma Sannyasa Yoga. That way it should be understood, not Jnana Sannyasa and Karma Sannyasa also. Both sannyas go. It's not like that. Jnanena Karma Sannyasa. With the help of knowledge, overcome the need to act. So, otherwise, when you just renounce action without the proper understanding, the knowledge, the karma will not go away. It will just go out and come back again. So, it is the knowledge must support to overcome the need to act. And even when you are acting, if the knowledge is there, you will not be affected by the action that you do. That's what it means. So, this chapter is therefore a success, or the subsequent to the Karma Yoga, which he spoke about, this giving up the result of action only. In the previous chapter, he talked about how to renounce the result of action. Here in this chapter, he says how to give up action with the help of knowledge. In the next chapter, on 5th chapter, is about what is renunciation. So, very systematically he proceeds on teaching, and I'm sure you will have more clarity and understanding when Guruji will handle the subject in the summer. Alright, so next Sunday when we meet, you can, if you have any questions, not only on this topic, any topic of relevance, you can surely ask for it. We will do that. And at this point, why is that happening now? I am getting into the forest now suddenly. No idea. Anyway, let us conclude here. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhat Bhavet. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.